Hello and welcome to Anatomy of Us. I'm your host, Melanie Studley.
What's up, my friends? My name is Seth Studley. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. Thank you so much for joining us. If this is your first time, go check out the over 500 episodes we have of interview shows, all kinds of stuff that is going to give you real help for real couples. So you're in the right place. Thank you so much. But first, the review of the day. 5 stars from Amy Dudley.
Hey.
You know how many times I've been called Dudley and says Dudley? A million. Anatomy of Us is a valuable resource for couples looking to strengthen their relationship. We're 27 years in. All right, good job. And gain a deeper understanding of the dynamics that drive successful marriages. This podcast explores the intricacies of faith in marriage while covering a variety of topics such as communication, intimacy, and conflict resolution. The host, this is parentheses, this is not my words, super dynamic and fun to listen to. Thanks, Amy Dudley. And are a married couple with children who offer their personal insights and experiences on these topics. So powerful. Check it out. Thank you so much. This is helpful, what Amy Dudley did. If you enjoy the show, and if it is helpful, go to iTunes and rate and review the show right now. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's very, very helpful. Okay, so today we're answering a listener question all about having a growth mindset and what to do if your spouse does not. And it's something that we're super passionate about. So it says, a lot of times you talk about having a growth mindset. I believe I have one. I also believe my husband does not. So when you talk about change or seeking more or learning, he has no interest in this. Neither books nor podcasts. And the last time we went through therapy, he went only because he thought I was saying we were getting a divorce, which I wasn't. I can do all the learning and changing I want, but I feel a bit of emptiness when he isn't learning and growing and changing with me. What do we do when we are on a personal growth journey personal development growth journey, and our spouse is not? And I kind of want to actually ask you, because when do you remember when I got the book, what was it?
Miracle Morning.
The Miracle Morning. That was the first real book on self-development I ever read.
Me too.
And I have no idea where I heard about it. Actually, I do know, because I was working, I think, with Matt on something. And we were talking about, and he said I should learn about business stuff. And I remember looking, and I found the Miracle Morning. He was interviewed, Hal Elrod was interviewed on something, and I got his book on Audible. And it was like one of the first times I had really listened to audiobooks, started something different, and it just seemed like a whole new world opened up to me. And I'm curious to know what you thought back then. Do you remember what you thought, or was it too long ago? Dinosaur time.
No, it wasn't too long ago, because Miracle Morning was one of the first growth mindset books that I read.
I said I read it first.
I know you did. Oftentimes, you bring a lot of new stuff into the marriage.
That's right. I do.
No, seriously, that you do, right? And that's one of the things that I really appreciate.
Yes.
You're asking me what I thought about you reading it?
Yeah, because she's saying, this listener is saying, I'm doing like a growth journey stuff and my husband just doesn't care about it. So what were your thoughts when I started doing it?
Well, clearly I thought it was awesome, and I read it like 2 seconds after you. Right?
Well, thanks for making the podcast interesting and this conversation fun.
Okay,
loved that.
So I was going to say, we are different in that manner because we both have, I have always had a growth mindset. Like, I'm not saying that, like, sure, there's a bunch of dumb things that I've done and struggles, but looking back in high school and all that stuff, I've always been like, hey, that looks weird and hard. Let's do that. Right? What are you smirking for?
Can you just answer the question? All I wanted you to do was answer the question.
Anyway.
I didn't need this tangent.
No, I personally was thankful that you found a resource and you were willing to learn something different, and also not just learn it and read it, but actually apply it, right? Like, and work it through. And I saw that changing in your life, and it was very refreshing. It was like, whoa, that's cool. Not that like you were stick in the mud before and just a fixed mindset.
I kind of was a stick in the mud. Let's be real.
Well, I
was an exciting stick in the mud.
If we're being, you were a stick in the mud with a rubber fence.
I had most amount of conflictual, like, I wanted to be really happy and free, and I was in some ways, but in other ways I was the most like fixed mindset, stick in the mud, like negative thinking person on the planet.
Well, and that came from family of origin, which if you're new to the show, we talk a lot about family of origin. I am in fact trained in family systems in therapy, and all of that stuff came from how you grew up,
Right.
what you saw modeled. You went to what you know, more is caught than taught kind of thing. And so you coming out of that, or just dipping your little cute toe. I just thought of your toe. It is so cute. With French, what is it?
French tips.
Oh, that's great. Anyway, dipping your toe into the growth mindset. Hey, let's start to do hard things. This was a real first foray into that for you, which was awesome. And I think we were talking about it to a coaching client like a couple days ago. The Miracle Morning was one of, you just said it was your first book, and it was one of the first books where I actually was like, wait a minute, let's try this.
Yeah.
The 6 tenets, the SAVERS acronym, where you scribe, you affirm, you journal, you exercise, you
just spelled sage with a J.
No, SAVERS.
I know, but you spelled.
What'd I say?
Scribe, affirm,
Gurnal?
journal.
You don't
exercise. You didn't spell savers when you said it. It was
I don't
funny.
have a diary journal. Anyway,
Oh, goodness.
it's a journal. But the point is, that was one of the first books that's really opened up our minds to it, which is cool. We've had Hal on the show twice, maybe?
Once or twice.
Once for sure. And he's awesome.
I feel so cool when he responds to my personal text.
Oh, he's great.
I'm always like,
But anyway, I felt that it was great, right? It was great. Now, if I was a stick in the mud and be like, you're reading a book, okay, Miss Book, fancy, whatever, then that would have made you feel, it could have done two things. Well, maybe three things. You could have been, hey, I'm okay with his stuck mindset. I'm going to continue on mine and be kind to him, and to each their own. I'm doing my thing in a good way, while, of course, honoring their marriage.
Yeah, we bring that up later. Keep on.
But then you could have been like, oh, well, he doesn't want me to do it. Yes, it is just stupid. And you could close the book and never open it again, right? Or you could have been, you suck.
Yeah.
You should look at your own crap. I'm going this way.
I'm on a personal growth journey. I'm out of here.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be my fullest self, and I have boundaries.
That's the worst. That is the worst. So for you listening, please don't do that. Don't do that. Number one, it's not good for you. Number two, it's going to push your husband away too. But he should not be a stick in the mud at the same time.
Well, and let's put a pause in. You changed topics, kind of, sort of, and so I want to go back to the original question.
Yes.
Like, what do I do if this is the vibe going on in my marriage? And I want to start with talking to the husband first, and to the partners out there who have a partner who is a growth mindset person, who brings home new books, new ideas, new whatevers, and wants to implement them. And you're just like, can't we just sit here? Isn't it fine how it is? So if your partner is one of these sort of types of people, like I am, and like Seth is, I learned about this new thing and it's helpful and they want to tell you all about it. Their truest desire, I do love that. I would live every day like that. I would do anything if I could live every day like that.
If I read one book a day and told you all about it, we'd have 500 kids.
That's right. We'd have our own nation of children. But you're not wrong. So if your partner is bringing new ideas to you, and they're saying, hey, I think we should do anything is from a diet to exercise to reading this book to trying this journaling thing or going to this program or doing this whatever. They are truly desiring to live at a high level of attunement, connection, and sort of vibration with you. I love the word vibe. I'm going to use this energy and vibration language a lot because it's real. It's a vibration of a string on a piano or a guitar or a violin or a note that someone sings. There's energy, there's vibration. So when people say good vibes only, they mean good vibrations only, right? And so I think if your partner is that kind of person, which it sounds like the listener or the person writing in is, they're like, I want to learn, I want to grow, I want whatever. They're bringing things to you because they are excited to get to the next level of good, the next level of great. Can we go one level higher? Can we connect even better? Can we have better sex? Can we go more places? Can we eat better food? Can we have more fun? That's the way I look at it. If Seth is bringing a new idea to me, I want to start doing cold dips. I go for it. Get a tank. I don't that's awesome. If it makes you jive on a higher vibe frequency, that's going to be great. And I'm going to match your frequency. Right. And so again, I'm saying this to the partner who's my spouse always has these new ideas and they're dumb and they're, it's snake oil and it's this. Just try it. Just try it and see, because you never know. But the question that this person asked is, what do I do when my spouse doesn't care about it?
This is what I will tell to that person.
Okay.
It's a lady, right?
Yeah, she said husbands. Yes, she says
it's a lady.
Yes, it is a lady.
Okay, so listen up, lady. You are, and I hope you listen to this.
Lady.
You are doing good. You are doing the right thing. You want to increase your vibration. You want to focus on good things. This can be and is probably the start of a journey for you that's going to make you healthier, mentally, physically, spiritually healthier, happier, and lighter feeling, right? You are doing good. You are doing good. And whenever we do good, there is going to be resistance. There is going to be pushback, right? And that's oftentimes can come from the person that you want to be the closest with, right? And that sucks. I know exactly how that feels. I know how that feels. We both do. We've both done it to each other. I'm like, hey, I have a high vibe thing. It's going to be awesome and kick my ass and I'm going to grow so much from it. And you go...
I'm over here being a slug.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I have done that to you too. You're like, dang, if you could just see what I see and this and that and that. I'm like, well, don't see it, don't care. I mean, I really,
DKDC.
I really haven't said that.
Yeah.
But we have done that to a degree in each other's lives, and it's not cool, right? And usually later we're like, oh, he was right, she was right, right? So if your partner is just not joining you with that, hopefully he's not trying to sabotage your success or anything, hiding your book that you got. I didn't hide Miracle Morning, you know, and stick it under the whatever. I didn't hide it from her. Hopefully he's not doing that. But I want you to hear our words as people who are well-versed in both sides of the story. You're doing the right thing. I want to encourage you, continue to do that. Continue to seek a higher version of yourself. And guess what? If you do that long enough, diligently enough, day in, day out, if you're committed to that, I promise you, guess what will eventually happen? Your husband will look at you and go, wow, you seem happier, healthier, cooler, funny, less stressed, less anxious, and you look way better. Maybe I should introspectively look at myself through a lens of what you're doing over here. And hopefully we'll get on the same page. That happened, and we've said this before, and this is just one of the most prominent examples I can think of. When I started 75 Hard, the very first time, it was the very first time I ever started it was January 2nd, 2020, and I completed it. And I remember getting halfway through. And it's a lot of stuff. And the first time you do it, you're like, oh, I'm just grinding. I mean, we're doing it right now. And it's it's not as hard as the first time.
It's but 75 normal now.
The rewards are just as prevalent though. And you had some real pushback. You're doing 2 workouts a day, 45 minutes each.
That's just real pushback. I calculated how many hours.
Yeah, you did.
Literally did the math of you're spending this many hours alone. You could be with your kids. You could be with me. And I took a duke all over.
You did.
Your 75 Hard dreams.
You sharded on it.
I hath sharded on the dreams.
That's just gross.
You gross yourself out.
I know. But anyway, there was some pushback on that. And what did I have to do? I had to deal with whatever I was thinking of it's pushback. Maybe I'm not doing the right thing. It's questioning myself. And I'm like, no, I am doing the right thing, and continued and pushed forward. Guess what eventually happened? She was like, hey, that's pretty cool. And then you did the program independent of me. Yep. You're not like, hey, do this. We do it together, blah, blah. You're like, oh, I can do that. And of course, that built all kinds of awesomeness in you.
Well, let me say what happened in that was that, and this is what I want to say to this woman.
What had happened was.
Okay. I don't know what that is. But what is that?
It's like a joke.
Okay. So from Seth's energy of doing 75 Hard the first time, he stayed at a high frequency no matter how much I tried to bring it down. He stayed doing the thing, being the thing, being the energy of working really hard, being the energy of completing all of the tasks. He kept on doing it. And so how I want to take that little bit of information and give it to you, lady, is that you have to, if you're reading a book about being filled with joy. You've got to be filled with joy no matter what your husband does. Like that's the power of
That's
you.
hard, man.
Is very hard. You got to level up and stay up. You got to stay at that higher vibration, that higher, like you can't be like, I'm reading a book all about gratitude and thankfulness and you stupid idiot won't read it and you're the blah, but I'm reading this book and you're an idiot. Like you can't be of two minds. You've got to be, or like of two energies. You've got to, if you're reading a book about like a diet or a, positive mindset or gratitude or whatever it is, you be that example and be such a good example that you attract it from your spouse. You pull them in with your energy, and it could take 6 months. It could take 3 years. It could take whatever, but be it until they can actually see the benefit of it, because that's what gets people out of that stuck, fixed mindset.
It is that saying.
Hold on, what's the saying? And then let me say my other things.
Be the light that you want to see in the world.
Yeah, technically it's be the change that you want to see in the world, I think. But
Light
I
is
like it.
change.
So, but this makes me think of the book, The Big Leap, where he talks about upper limiting beliefs. And this is a thing. So in the book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, I highly recommend that every human reads this book. I don't care what you're doing, read the book, The Big Leap, and then go read The Zone of Genius by Gay Hendricks. And he talks about this idea that basically everyone has a thermostat, like a set point of things they're okay with. So like a thermostat in your home, if it's set to 70 degrees and the temperature goes too high, it actually clicks on and then it brings it right back down to 70. So if it's 90 outside and the house starts to become 73, it goes, no. 70 that's our set point, and I'm going to put you back down to 70, right? And our worlds work the same way. We have these like thermostats of how happy we can be, of how much growth we can handle, of what kind of vibe we can deal with based on the families that we grew up in. And in my family, I love my family, but they're not super positive. They're not like, go out and do an adventurous thing. They're like, don't go out after
don't
3.
Do an adventurous
yeah,
thing.
they're like, don't eat that. It's salty and that one's probably spicy. Don't do it. So I have a thermostat set point in my family that's like really low. Like, don't go somewhere. You don't need to. Don't spend the money. It's not really worth it. The drive is too far. It might be a hassle. What if there's traffic? What if there's a shooting? Like, it's just all of this negativity. And again, I love my family. But I didn't realize that was part of the conflict in our marriage, is that I was trying to change my thermostat set point. Like I said, I was the most exciting stick in the mud you've ever met because I didn't know what I really wanted. What I really wanted was to be free of the 70-degree thermostat that my family had set, or like the 65-degree thermostat that my family had set, of like, don't go on adventures, like just follow the status quo. It's totally fine. Stay safe, stay close, stay small. I was trying to break out of that while being unaware that I was trying to break out of it. I had no idea.
But feeling the grit and frustration of that incongruency.
Yeah, the internal conflict of like, I want to see the freaking pyramids and I want to ride in a hot air balloon, and everybody's just telling me no. Like everyone just says that's stupid and you're dumb. Why would you do that? And that's this idea of like an upper limiting belief that was handed to me completely unintentionally by my family that then affected how I showed up in my relationship with Seth. I was dissonant and dissatisfied and unhappy and not knowing how to handle it until we read The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And then it sort of started that ball rolling. But if I could go back in time and like read and like tell us some advice of how to navigate this like growth mindset versus fixed mindset versus, upper limiting belief stuff, I would be like, you, like Melanie, be exactly how you want to be. Like if you want to be fun and energetic and exciting and have great sex and eat great food and go fun places and be like this magnet of energy, be it. There's nothing to wait for. Seth will catch up. Like he'll catch up, he'll figure it out, but not if you say you want to be this fun, great, magnetic light, and then you act like a stinky turd, wet blanket.
When someone doesn't share the same energy.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, and this will be helpful for this listener. It may sound weird, but nobody cares as much as you do about what you care about. And that sounds weird. That sounds like, oh, wait a minute, we're not connected, we're not whatever. But I have told you over and over and over, like, nobody cares about the thing that you're trying to do as much as you do. They just don't. It is impossible.
Which I think, I will say, is a very crappy way to say something. I would wish that you would rephrase that. So, because it always felt very hurtful when you would say that.
Well, it was probably in an argument where we weren't communicating very well, but I'll say it in a different way.
I would say it like this. You care the most. Go out there and lead it. That's how I would say it. Like, you care. You are the leader of this energy. You care the most. So go show people.
It's kind of like that saying, okay, you're in a subway, you're at an airport or whatever, and somebody's baby is crying. You go, ain't my baby crying. Now, if you saw a kid get injured and you could help, of course you're going to help. You're not a psychopath, right? But if somebody's over here, baby's crying in the back of the plane, it's like, that's annoying, but ain't my baby crying.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You don't care about somebody else's kid as much as your kid. Understand what I'm saying? And that's just straight up. I don't care about your personal goals, personal endeavors, personal dreams, personal plans. This isn't really true for us because I do care about them. But I don't care about it as much as you do.
You actually can't care about it as much
exactly.
as I do.
I can't, because in your mind, you think about it very differently than I can even perceive it.
Yeah.
Right? And so many couples, us included, would get in so many arguments of like, you just don't care. How the hell can I?
Right.
I'm not in your brain.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can support you. I can make sure to do things that lift you up and encourage you. But if it's not happening at the end of the day, if I don't get a 6-pack, so you care if I get one, right? I mean, it'd
be nice.
Yeah, it'd be nice, right? Oh, sure, great, right. But can you care about that as much as I do? No, because who has to do the work to get it?
Yeah.
I do. So it's physically, biologically impossible for you to care that much, emotionally impossible. So what I would say to this lady, aside from the encouragement that I already gave you, keep it up. You're on the right train, sister. Also, understand that your husband is he's just where he is because he's where he is, and that's just accept it. Understand what I'm saying? And be encouraged that eventually your positive influence, your growth mindset will rub off on him. Will it take a week or will it take 52 weeks? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. The analogy that or like this sort of imagery that popped into my head is like, I'm imagining, of like a beautiful landscape outside somewhere. We live in the Pacific Northwest. It's beautiful out here. I'm imagining a big hill that you could scale, like actually kind of like over at the church, the grassy hills that we have at our church. And you can go up the hills and the view is amazing. Like, it's beautiful and you see beautiful sunsets, and sometimes you can see these amazing, like the moon looks giant, but in order to see it, you got to go up these hills, right? And so many times one of the kids have been up the hill or I've been up the hill and I'm like, oh my gosh, come up here. It's amazing up here. If Seth doesn't want to go up that hill, he's not gonna, right? And I'm only going to encourage him to come up the hill by being excited about what I'm seeing and like fun and encouraging, like, come on, it'll be fun, it'll be easy. I'm never gonna be like, get up here and look at this sunset. You are so stupid. Like, you know, getting mad about him not wanting to do the work that I have done isn't gonna help. But I can invite him up. I can have be exuding the experience so positively and lovingly that it encourages, invites, and makes his journey easier, if that makes any sense. So kind of back to what Seth was saying, it's like you care the most about your growth and your change, and you can sweep people along on that journey by your energy. You can also turn them off by being mean, dismissive. I would be this way with Seth in the past. I would be like, I can't believe you're not reading this book. Like, you don't even care. Oh, you're so dumb.
I don't remember you being that way.
I mean, I would be like if you really cared, you would have done the work, or you would have read the thing. Like, I remember being weird about stuff like that with you in the past. I apologize. So, thanks. But all of that being said, your husband's decision to not be a growth mindset person isn't actually your business. I know that sounds really weird, but and the only way you can encourage him to become a growth mindset person, if he's going to, is by being such a great growth mindset person that he wants what you got. Make sense? Like, he's actually willing to go read that book because look at how it changed my wife. That's awesome. Like,
how about this? It's a growth mindset, singular. It doesn't say growth mindsets. You understand what I'm saying? So, hey, I read this awesome thing. And naturally, you want to share an awesome thing that has impacted your life, that you think can make a positive change in others' life. That is the regular human inclination to want to do that. You want to share, just like the Bible talks about. Like, if you find something, you want to share it, right? Don't put a bushel on your light kind of thing, right? You remember those verses?
Yeah, I don't know if they're the same.
Don't hide your light. It's a different context. But so your inclination and desire to want to share is great, but it's not, hey, I found this awesome thing. I want to share it only if other people think about it.
Yeah.
Only if other people care about it.
Only if they like it as much
Only
as I
if you
like
give
it.
me the feedback that I need to make sure that I'm doing the right thing, right? So I promise you, you having a growth mindset is the right thing.
Yeah.
It's 100% the right thing. Now, don't let it get to a point to where it is divisive in your marriage. Oh, well, you have a fixed mindset. Of course you do. Blech.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
don't let it get there. Like I was alluding to before, like I could be all judgy, like I'm on a high horse of doing 75 hard and reading all these books, and you're not. Oh, gross. Sure, I'll hang out with you, but you know half as much as I do.
Feeble peasant.
Yeah, don't be all weird. Don't be all weird about it. And there's no indication that you are, but I'm just saying that could be a pitfall.
Yeah.
Which will not be inviting to your husband to have a growth mindset, by the way. Well, now you're just a snob. I don't want to be like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And if your partner doesn't, again, it's like if I started telling Seth about a book that I read about who knows what, some new growth mindset thing that I'm interested in, and he doesn't, number one, understand it. Number two, he doesn't get it. Number three, he's confused, so he doesn't like engage in it. I can't get mad at him for that. Like old Melanie would have gotten mad and been like, what don't you get? Like, it's easy. Like I would have been really mean about it. But now I'm like, oh, he'll understand it if we talk about it enough, or maybe eventually he'll read the book if I set it around. And if I live out the message that is inside of the pages of this growth mindset book, I know that he'll actually probably get some like secondhand wisdom from that,
Right.
even if he never reads the book, right? So you have to stay determined that your growth matters enough to do the work anyway. That's it. You can't worry about if he's going to do it or not. That's going to get the opposite of what you want, if that makes sense. So your focus should be on your growth alone and not on if he is growing or not.
Right. Leave little hints. Leave the books that you're reading out on the table. You know, if you're journaling stuff, if you're, using something like a journal, like the Power Couple Planner or something like that, leave it on the table. Oh, what's this? Oh, it's just this thing I've been doing, that has helped me to lose 20 pounds and like make 20 grand more. No big deal.
The Power Couple Planner is not going to help you.
I'm just talking about
things,
growth mindsets things. Like on our table, the Bible is always open.
Yeah.
So what does that have a positive or negative impact? Now, am I telling the kids like, hey,
if
come
you're
here?
a Satanist, it's a negative impact.
I guess so, but we're not. Thank the Lord. Right? So leaving it open, seeing the kids are allowing the kids to see me read it or you read it and talk about it. Oh, it's open. They're going to have questions. Huh? What is that? Then that spurs conversation. So leave the Miracle Morning open. Leave Jocko Willink, Discipline Equals Freedom open. Leave the
Big Leap.
Play podcasts out loud. Hey, what do you listen to? I mean, Melanie does that all the time. What do you got on Audible these days?
There is a definite purpose. I play podcasts out loud all the time. I walk around with my phone on and I'm playing audiobooks or podcasts. And part of it is just so that my kids hear it. They hear Bob Proctor and Wayne Dyer and Joyce Meyer and,
not
Gay
Andy
Hendricks.
Frisella though.
Not Andy Frisella, no.
little too not kid friendly, but great content nonetheless. So again, I just want to encourage you. And if you're if this is like, hey, yep, this is me, this is my spouse, I want to encourage you. You are doing the right thing. Growth mindset, change, getting out of your comfort zone. No one said it would be easy.
Yeah.
And don't let this kind of speed bump or, no matter how large or how small it may be, it's a speed bump nonetheless. Don't let it slow your progress down. And please don't let it make you resentful or weird and judgmental and angry towards your spouse. Right?
Alex Hermosi said something really cool that I read or saw on a thing yesterday. And he was talking about, apparently he was in either was in college and the new people, the new pledges, like a day 10 to 14, almost all of them always quit because it was hard. And he goes, so I got out in front of it. And I told my pledges that on day 10 to 14, most of the pledges quit because it's too hard. And he goes, now I'm saying this to you now before it gets really hard. It's going to be hard, but it's going to be harder than you think it's going to be. And you knew it was going to be hard, but you didn't think hard was going to feel like that. And so he's like, just prepare yourself for that and then you won't quit. And so I kind of want to say that to this person and to anyone really, if you're on a growth journey and you're trying to change stuff and you're trying to get out of the cycles that you see, all of a sudden you become aware of and you're like, I don't want this. It's going to be hard and it's going to be harder than you think it's going to be, but it's going to be worth it. So don't give up. Don't get mad at the people who aren't going with you because it ain't their baby crying. It's not the conviction that they feel. It's the conviction that you feel, right? So keep on working, keep on growing. You can invite your husband in and say, hey, I'd love it if you read this book. That'd be super cool. If not, no big deal. Maybe you start a book club with your friends, read it with them, talk about it with other people. But the last thing that you would want to do is get mad, get angry, be bitter. And again, I'm not sure if you're doing that, but it's going to have the counter effect if you do that. Anyway, if you have a question for our show, send it in. You can send it in at hello@anatomyofmarriage.com. You can send it in on Instagram, and Facebook, and TikTok. Just send us a message and get it to us. So thank you for this question. Again, we hope that our answer was helpful, and have an amazing night.
All right, guys.
Or day.
Later.
All right, talk to you later. Bye.